agree. And I think there's always a verse in the Bible that comes back to me. And as an entrepreneur, I want to know your perspective on this. Money is the root of all evil. But as an entrepreneur, isn't this what we're supposed to be focused on?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Good question. That's where we take things out of context can be very dangerous. Money's spoken in the Bible about over 2,000 times. Like it's one of the most spoken topics mentioned in the Bible, by the way. And the funny thing is that it talks about, every time it's mentioned, is talk about how to handle money. And I think it's not about not having money or not making money or not growing. You just need resources. But if it becomes a thing you obsess about, you can call it your idol, your God, whatever, but it becomes unhealthy. And as with anything, right? If you're obsessing about anything, if you're obsessing about your partner and all you think about is your partner, I mean, obviously, but again, balance, right? Or just about you, is everything you do is about your business, or obsessing about your health, or obsessing about your success, or obsessing about your image, obsessing about your age, whatever. Again, you're missing the balance. You're taking what was actually meant to be good and are using it for bad, consciously or subconsciously, either way. But money is the same thing. Money is always only going to be a resource. If you treat it as a thing you worship and thing you follow day and night, I mean, I work for so many wealthy people, and one of the things that I know the difference is, someone who's wealthy and uses it as a resource, guess what? They're happy. But those who use it as a thing they live for, miserable. You know, it's funny. Money will never make you happy, which is a good thing, and I know that. So I know. And so use it wisely. Use it as a resource for the greater good of others. I think that's why also I've had this conversation, slightly off topic, but a lot of successful creatives, dancers, musicians, and we both know. And I think the struggle I see is when they hit like 30s and 40s, they suddenly have this sort of, and I've had this conversation like not 1,000 times, but probably 50 times, where they suddenly start feeling empty. They're like, I've succeeded, I've been in this show, I've traveled the world, I've done this and that, but I kind of feel empty. And I've literally had this conversation over, and I wonder why. And I truly think the reason is because it's always been about them. Like the same as modeling, fashion. Like I've done some crazy big campaigns, made some crazy money for it, but it's always empty. And I think that's what you have to realize is, if you live life about yourself, you're never going to be fulfilled. You always want more. And I think that's why, same with money. If you use it to satisfy yourself, miserable. But if you use it to bless others, powerful. And I think with anything, right?
So it's about the way that it's used, not the actual tool itself.
Exactly.
Right.
How do you use the tool?
Right.
Like alcohol, having a glass of wine, fantastic. Having 10 glasses of wine, you might end up in hospital, So it's like, I think it's living life to the full in every element, but with a healthy sense of common sense, reality, and, within what you've created, being created by and for. Like if you fill a car with petrol, it's going to go far. Fill a car with earth or with, glue, it's not going to go anywhere. And so it's not abusing what's been created. And I think if you thrive on that and understand yourself, understand the elements of tools we have available, you're going to do so well in life. And I think that's often forgotten, especially in this woke culture where it's going to be like, I want to follow an ideology and I need to be like that. And you end up being like just weird, or damaged or whatever. And I think, coming back to reality, I think is a big part of my sort of drive and mission to empower others to live in reality.
Incredible.
So,
Right.